Morning guys, it's Saturday today, it's my daughter's birthday, so we've got lots planned. We've got some family coming over for a birthday tea where I'm going to be ordering from the local kebab shop because that's my daughter's choice, and obviously it's her birthday, she gets to choose, so we're going to be ordering kebab food for everyone. But also what I've done basically is I've sent a copy of the kebab shop menu to everyone that's coming and said, please choose whatever you'd like. Alternatively, there will be on offer pulled pork and rolls and stuff like that. So I have cooked, and I'm expecting there to be quite a big take up on that, to be fair. So I've cooked this massive pork leg. This is a whole leg off one of our pigs. It didn't fit in the cooker. I had to slice it in half, and I've put the hock just underneath there. And our probe doesn't even reach anywhere near the center of the meat. So I'm doing the best I can. But this has been in the oven all night. I put this in, it's been in for over 12 hours now, but I'm cooking it on a super low temperature, and that's how you get that lovely, moist, tender pulled pork that you want. So I've got it set to just under 100 degrees C. Now the internal temperature we want to be about 64 degrees C minimum. We've got 66 here. Now, I'm sure that the internal temperature in the center is going to be about there, because like I say, it's been in there for such a long time, but it's still got about 40 minutes at higher temperature, which is what I'm going to do now, so that this fat can crisp up and become more like crackling. I'm going to take off some of this moisture now. You can see there's loads that's come out. So I'm going to take some of that off, take the cover off. It's been covered for all that time. Bang the temperature up to about 180 and put that back in the oven to crisp up the outside. And that's going to deliver a ridiculous amount of pulled pork for not just tonight, but to cook with over the next few days. So I think if I get time today, my daughter's opened all her presents. We've done our sort of birthday breakfast and all that kind of stuff. And she's gone into her room to, do whatever it is she wants to do for the next couple of hours. So I'm going to spend that time, I think, using the tomatoes in our fridge to make a tomato sauce, so that at some point this week I can have a pulled pork bolognese style meal, or a pulled pork, I would say chili style meal, but I don't have cumin or a lot of the flavors that I'd like to use in a chili. But anyway, something of that nature. So that's the plan for this morning. Right, as you can tell by the clock behind me, it's 2 in the afternoon now, and yes, I'm still in my dressing gown. I have been quite busy, not as busy as most days, but I have got a fair bit done. We've got this amazing piece of pork here that is going to be our pulled pork. I've not eaten anything yet today, and I'm fine with that. I'm not hungry. I'm going to pull all that into little strips. And I'm also going to attempt to make for myself. So everyone else is just having like pulled pork with some soft bread rolls and some stuffing. I don't have access to those soft bread rolls. So I'm either I'm just going to have sourdough, or I'm going to do some potato wedges. But I'm going to also try and make this sort of spicy, sticky sauce, hopefully. So I'm going to use some honey, some chilies, and some garlic to make that sauce. So I really wanted some tomatoes in that sauce as well, but I don't want to use my tiny little bag of frozen tomatoes. I want to use them for a sauce, for a pasta sauce type thing. So I'm going to use these, which are our sun-dried cherry tomatoes, and hopefully I've never ever rehydrated them or tried to. So I've just boiled the kettle, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some hot water on them, hopefully rehydrate them a bit. I don't know if I use all of them or not, and I'll just have a look at what product I end with when they've been steeped for a little bit in this water, and hopefully we'll be able to put that in and maybe blend it up. And I think that's going to give that nice acidity and that tomato flavor to that sauce. So that's what I'm hoping for, fingers crossed. With the honey and the chilies and the garlic, I'm hoping to get a sort of almost like a spicy sweet ketchup. That's the plan. And then we've obviously saved all of this. When I had the pork in the oven overnight, this was what we took off it this morning. And then I whacked the heat right up and sort of basically cooked all that fat on the outside. And look at the difference. So this is the overnight one. And so you've got more of that jelly stock at the bottom. And then this one, look at how so much of that fat rendered down. That's going to be beautiful, clear like lard that I can use. And then again, more stock at the bottom. And then I actually, because I started to pull the meat, and it was still a little bit, just could have done with a little bit longer. So I actually put it back in the oven for another couple of hours, and that's what came off that time. So we can add some more of that back in. I'm not sure, I'm going to play around with the actual pulled pork and do a few different things with it. Some of it I'll sort of toss some honey and some chili in and just do it like that. Some of it will just be plain with some salt and pepper. Not for me, for the guests. And a few different ideas with it, but that's the plan. I'm going to be messing about with my ketchup. I'm going to be milking the goats, and I'm also going to be ordering the delivery of the kebab food. Kebab's one of those things that we have it probably once a year, but when I have it, I love it. I love doner kebab meat, but we have it so rarely. It's going to be a bit odd with everyone having access to all this takeaway food and not me. Okay, so it's the following morning. I didn't have time to do any more filming yesterday, unfortunately, and so I didn't get to wrap up yesterday's video, so I'm going to do that now. All of my family that came over, or my wife's family rather, every single one of them opted for the pulled pork. That was a real success, so no one had anything from the kebab shop except for my kids. So I'll definitely take that as a win. And I had just pulled pork, like a pulled pork sandwich with sourdough, with a little bit of my goat's butter, which I now have a small amount of. And I made a homemade ketchup, as I told you yesterday. And that was really, really good. It was a little tiny bit bitter, and that I've since found out is a side effect of using the dehydrated cherry tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes. They'll give you that little bit of bitterness if you rehydrate them and use them that way. So that's what I did. So I put some garlic and some chili in a pan, and then I added the rehydrated tomatoes, which I basically you saw me add the hot water to them yesterday, and then I basically just put a blender over them and blitzed them up, poured them in, and some honey. That was it, done. And yeah, really good. And I ate that, just like I say, in a sandwich with some salad. And it was so good that that's what I'm having today for lunch as well. I brought some lunch with me. Now, I'm leading a foraging walk today down in Broomhill. So I had to get up at about 4:30 this morning, which is why I didn't have time to do anything yesterday. So I've got down here nice and early so I can do a little bit of a recce, see if I can see any mushrooms or anything a little bit off the paths, so that when I'm leading people later, there's more chance we can find something exciting. So that's why I had to leave so early. But what I've done is I've brought and I had some stuffing balls, some of my leftover stuffing balls. So what I did this morning is I put some pulled pork and some stuffing in a bowl, mixed it together, microwaved it, and I've put that in a thermos. I brought everything else down here in my great white lunchbox, and hopefully the chef will have a little bit of time and space to put some my sourdough that I brought down in the oven, and I can have that. Because what we do, we stop here for lunch, we prepare a meal with the stuff that we foraged, but of course the whole meal isn't made up of that. We usually mix some rice or some stock or something with it, and we'll make a nice salad. But again, there might be some cos lettuce mixed in with the wild edibles, because we never know what we're going to find, and we've promised people lunch. So even though there will be foraged items in the lunch, it's not 100% going to be foraged items. So that's why I had to bring my own lunch, in case you're wondering. Anyway, that's going to wrap up day 18, and I'm sorry this is going out late. I'm not sure what time this will go out, but it's going to be quite late, I'm sure, compared to usual. But that's day 18 done. Oh no, it doesn't. So the only other thing to report is that my brother-in-law is an award-winning chef, and he cooked this ridiculous birthday cake for my daughter. That's been, because I've been craving desserts the last couple of days, and that's been the hardest hour that I've had this month by a long shot. Having eaten a lovely meal and then being surrounded by everybody gorging themselves on this amazing cake, and his cakes are to die for. They're just amazing. I could only eat it with my eyes. Anyway, we put some in the freezer, and I'm going to have that next month. Right, that's going to wrap this video up, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please make sure you press that like button, leave me a comment down below. You know the drill, and I'll speak to you all really, really soon. Incidentally, if you're fairly new to my channel and you've been following along this month, you may or may not be aware that we also have the Self-Sufficient Hub podcast, which is available everywhere you get your podcasts. Just search in your podcast provider Self-Sufficient Hub, and you will find us. Cheers.